T.I. begging 50 Cent to leave his son King Harris out of the documentary has sent shock waves across the internet. The stakes couldn't be higher. T is doing everything he can protect his son's image, knowing that the footage 50 Cent has already leaked could seriously damage King's life. What started as social media trolling and diss tracks has now escalated to a full-blown documentary feud, putting the Harris family in the spotlight like never before. In this breakdown, we're diving into every moment, every leak, and why T is fighting so hard to keep his son out of crossfire. To understand how we got here, you have to go back to the beginning. In the beginning of this particular chapter is a versus battle that never happened. The beef between 50 Cent and T first began way back in 2006 when both rappers were at their peak. 50 was a star of Gun It, and T was the self-proclaimed king of the South. The tension began to appear in a competitive way with sneak dices for years. It simmered. It never boiled over. They stayed in their respective lanes. 50 running New York, T.I. running Atlanta. But there was always something there. A side-eye in interviews, a comment here and there. The kind of thing that hip-hop fans notice, but nobody acts on. Then came the Versus era. T later claimed on $1 million worth of game that he and 50 had a handshake agreement about the Versus. But when he announced it, 50 acted as if he had no idea what T meant. Think about that for a second. T says they had a deal. He goes public with it. And 50, rather than confirming or even gently denying it, chose to play confused. The Atlanta rapper accused 50 of previously agreeing to a Versus battle, where they would have gone song for song, and then publicly clowning him once he announced it, pretending to act confused. Now, if you are T.I., that is a problem. You have gone on record saying this battle is happening, and the other man is making you look like you fabricated the entire thing. That is not just a disagreement. That is a public humiliation. What started as a Versus challenge turned into something uglier. T did not take that humiliation quietly. He started talking about it in interviews. He started calling 50 out. And 50 being 50 did not respond with music or even direct conversation. He responded the way he always responds with social media. 50 Cent appeared to respond by posting an unflattering image of T.I.'s wife, Tama Tiny Harris, captioned, "I keep saying, keep my name out your mouth." Okay, that right there changed everything. The moment 50 Cent brought Tiny into it, this was no longer a rap beef. This was personal. The New Yorker even went on to post unflattering images of the 49-year-old's wife, Tiny, and son, King. Now, a lot of people in hip-hop have beef with 50 Cent over the years. Ja Rule, Rick Ross, The Game, Fat Joe, the list is long. And one thing that is consistent about 50 is that he does not just come for you. He comes for your family. He comes for the people around you. And that is exactly what he did here by posting those images of Tiny. 50 crossed a line. He was not going after T the rapper. He was going after T the husband, the father, the family man. And that brought an entirely different response from the Harris household. T went to the studio. The tracks Right One, War, Lessons, and What Bully followed in quick succession. And each one landed with the kind of specificity that comes from genuine frustration rather than calculated promo. For diss tracks, not one, not two, 4. And each one went harder than the last. T kept the pressure on with his third entry, Lessons, which online commentators and rap critics described as one of the strongest performances in years. His fourth diss track, What Bully, targeted 50 Cent's online tough guy image versus his apparent reluctance to face real-world consequences. This was T.I. in his bag, not doing promo, not chasing streams, just going at a man who disrespected his wife and his son on the internet. T reiterated that he was not looking for exposure heading into his forthcoming final album, Kill the King. He said $50,000 in conventional advertising could have generated the same attention. The beef, he insisted, was never about business, and the internet took notice. DJ academics drew direct comparisons to the Drake-Kendrick Lamar beef, cementing this as one of the defining rivalries of 2026. Whether that comparison is fair or not, the point is clear. This was not a minor social media spat. This was a full-blown rap war. And it was about to get much worse because T.I.'s sons were watching. When 50 Cent posted those unflattering images of Tiny Harris, the response from T was music, for diss tracks one after the other. But T.I. was not the only member of the Harris family who had something to say. His sons did too. His sons, King and Domani Harris, stepped in after 50 targeted their mother. And the way they stepped in, that is what made this beef go from bad to nuclear. King Harris is keeping his foot on 50 Cent's neck as he drops his second diss track against the Gun It Boss. He released his first one, Made Man, on Wednesday. On that song, he sent a clear message: don't disrespect my mother. King Harris is 21 years old. He is T and Tiny's son, and he grew up watching his father navigate the music industry, the streets, and the public eye. So when 50 Cent came for his mother, King did not sit back and let his father handle it. He got in the booth himself. His first diss track, Made Man, was a direct response to 50 posting images of Tiny. The message was simple: you come for my mother, I come for you. But King did not stop there. Titled Solace, King Harris fights fire with fire by telling 50 Cent to dig his late mom, Sabrina, from the grave. T.I.'s son wears a t-shirt with 50's late mom on it. That is the moment things went from intense to something else entirely. King Harris, T and Tiny's son, responded by wearing a t-shirt bearing the image of 50 Cent's late mother, Sabrina Jackson, who passed away in an apartment fire when 50 was just 8 years old. Let that sit for a moment. 50 Cent lost his mother when he was 8 years old. She died in a fire. And now, decades later, her image is being printed on a t-shirt and worn in a music video by the son of his rival. That is not just disrespectful. That is the kind of thing that changes the entire temperature of a beef. And King did not stop with the shirt. In a video shared on Instagram, Harris is seen packing multiple 8 bags of CBD into a larger package labeled Ms. Jackson while rapping along to his latest diss track, Drop Top, where he takes several shots at 50. The label on the bag features an image of 50 C's mother, Sabrina Jackson, whose name appears prominently beneath the portrait. That is King Harris telling 50 Cent that he is willing to go places that most people would not. And the internet had a reaction. Some people praised King for standing up for his mother. Others said he went too far. But King was not the only Harris son in the mix. The most polarizing moment of the beef came from T.I.'s eldest son, Domani Harris, 24, who dropped a near 4-minute diss track entitled MS. Jackson sampling Outkast's iconic 2000 hit of the same name. Domani uses his first verse to speak directly to 50 Cent's late mother. He raps about asking whether she is happy with how her son has been holding the family name. In the second verse, Tip's son talks to 50 himself and closes out with a threat. So now you have T dropping 4 diss tracks, King dropping multiple diss tracks, Domani dropping diss tracks. The entire Harris family was mobilized. The fact that Ty's entire family is now vocally in this beef tells you everything about how personal it has become. And through all of this, 50 Cent stayed relatively quiet, at least on wax. Rather than responding with music, 50 Cent did what he does best. He trolled. Fifth flooded social media with jokes, memes, and pointed posts aimed at T and his family, particularly targeting his wife, Tamika, Tiny Harris, and son, King Harris. He posted unflattering photos and kept the internet roasting on full blast. But 50 was not finished. He was just getting started. Because while T and his sons were dropping diss tracks, 50 Cent was preparing something that could do far more damage than any song. He was thinking about a documentary. On March 5th, 2026, 50 Cent made a move that changed the entire dynamic of this beef. He stopped trolling. He stopped posting memes. And he put something on his Instagram that sent a message that nobody could ignore. On March 5th, 50 Cent posted and then quickly deleted an Instagram screenshot of a headline that read 50 Cent reportedly developing Surviving T and Tiny documentary. The name alone tells you everything. Surviving T and Tiny. If that sounds familiar, it should. The name deliberately echoes the surviving R. Kelly format. This is the same playbook. And 50 Cent is the man who already ran it once before. The reference to the Diddy Do is crucial. 50 Cent executive produced a Netflix docu-series on Sean Combs that aired in late 2025, a project that many in hip-hop credit with accelerating Diddy's public downfall. So when 50 Cent posts about a documentary, people pay attention. This is not an empty threat from a random person. This is a man who already made a documentary about one of hip-hop's most powerful figures. Got it on Netflix and watched it do numbers. And the caption on that since deleted post, the since deleted upload was captioned, "Remember how quiet I got before the Diddy Do? Dame thought I wasn't coming. I hope this doesn't mess up your promo tour. They're going to ask about your 20 sexual assault cases. You might want to talk to a crisis PR person." Read that again. "Remember how quiet I got before the Diddy Do?" That is 50 Cent telling T.I., "My silence is not surrender. My silence is preparation. And when I am done preparing, you are going to have a problem." According to numerous sources, such as Star 94. 5, they report that industry insiders are hearing rumblings about the Gunnet mogul dropping another documentary similar to Sean Combs' The Reckoning. There's even a title being floated out there, Surviving T.I. and Tiny. The tentatively named project would resurface old sexual assault allegations from several women against the couple. Now, here is some context that matters. The Harris couple has been accused by over 30 women and one man of a pattern of drugging, kidnapping, and sexual assault, which they have vehemently denied. T.I. and Tiny have previously and consistently denied the allegations against them, which reportedly span 2005 to 2015 and include accusations of sexual assault, drugging, and other misconduct from multiple women. The vast majority of associated lawsuits have been dismissed in court. That is important to note. These are allegations. T.I. and Tiny have denied them. Many of the lawsuits have been dismissed, but 50 Cent does not need a conviction to make a documentary. He needs a story, and the allegations, regardless of the legal outcome, are a story. The documentary threat changes the stakes entirely. If 50 is serious, T.I.'s Kill the King album roll out could be completely overshadowed. That is the play. T.I. is gearing up for what is called his final album. He is on a promotional tour. He has a hit single, and 50 Cent is threatening to drop a documentary that would turn every interview from tell us about the new album to tell us about the sexual assault allegations. Here's the thing about Curtis Jackson. He has actually followed through before. The Diddy documentary was real. It was impactful, and it came after a long period of silence that people mistook for him backing down. That pattern, the silence, then the strike, is what makes this threat so real. 50 Cent went quiet during the Diddy situation. 2, people thought he moved on. Then the documentary dropped, and Diddy's world changed. Whether the documentary is officially in development remains unclear, but 50 Cent has a history of generating attention with such teases. It is still unconfirmed. It is unconfirmed. 50 Cent shared a headline suggesting the documentary is in development in a since-deleted Instagram post, and used his caption to lean into the threat. But no official announcement has been made. But confirmed or not, the damage is already done. The conversation has shifted, and T.I. knows it. So, the documentary threat is out there. The internet is buzzing, and T.I. has to respond. He cannot just ignore it. But the question is, how does he respond? While the Atlanta artist hasn't yet responded to his Queen's enemies on wax dises, he did dismiss these documentary threats. We can go bar for bar, hit for hit, or doc for doc. Either way, all you're going to do is show how much of an FN you is. He captioned an Instagram post that is T on the surface, defiant, unbothered, challenging 50 to match him in any arena, music, documentary, whatever. The King of the South made it clear he does not feel threatened by the possibility of a documentary or any other challenge. But underneath that defiance, there is something else going on. Because while T can handle a beef with 50 Cent, he has been in the game long enough. He has been through worse. King Harris is a different situation. During a sit-down with the host of the Ebro Laura Rosenberg show, T reflected on his son's dissies to 50 Cent after the Queen's rapper trolled the Harris family with a picture of Tiny. And what T said in that interview tells you everything about how he feels about King being in this. "No, I don't enjoy it," said T in response to a question about if his kids' responses were enjoyable. "I spent so much time trying to get this little Nama off the ledge. Now he has justifiable means to undo all the teaching that I've been teaching. That is a father talking, not a rapper. A father who has spent years trying to guide his son, try and keep him on a certain path, and who now sees that path being destroyed by a beef that King did not start, but is fully committed to. T admits that there was one moment that he believes King went too far. I said, That's enough when I seen that damn t-shirt, he shared. I said, man, chill out. I'm big on treating people the way I want to be treated. So I don't want to see my children doing others a t-shirt, the one with 50 Cent's late mother on it. That was the line for T. He saw his son wearing the image of a dead woman on his chest, and he told him to stop. T drew the line when he saw King wearing a shirt printed with a photo of 50 Cent's late mother, Sabrina Jackson. He made clear that he told King to stop immediately. He said he is committed to treating people the way he wants to be treated, and he did not want to see his children go further than what he felt was justified. But even with that regret, T still expressed pride in what his sons did at a fundamental level. Though he didn't want King caught up in the mess, T did express how proud he is of how King and Demony have protected their mother. The one thing that I am proud of this is that the women and children in our families see that it's a line of men that's here against who the FK ever. We not here to defeat. I'm here to defend. I'm here to protect what's ours. I die in the streets about this __. That is the tension. T is proud that his son stood up for their mother, but he is not happy with how far it went. And now, with the documentary threat hanging over everything, King's involvement is not just a father-son issue. It is a legal and public relations issue. Because if 50 Cent does make this documentary, everything King Harris has done, the t-shirt, the weed packaging with Sabrina Jackson's image on it, the diss tracks, all of that becomes material. All of that becomes part of the narrative that 50 Cent can use to paint the Harris family in a certain light. And T knows that, which is why he told King to stop, which is why he went on the Ebro show and said he does not enjoy it, which is why underneath the bravado and the diss tracks and the Instagram captions, there's a father who is worried about what this beef is doing to his son. T intensified his ongoing feud with 50 Cent, dropping a new diss track titled Trauma Bond, just days after 50 Cent responded with his own song, No One Told Us What Here For. The latest track from T.I. blends personal reflection with pointed critique, centering on loyalty to family, while highlighting 50 Cent's attention-seeking behavior. T dismisses a threat, using his music to assert control over the narrative. The track ridicules the idea that a documentary could define him, highlighting that T.I. remains focused on his family and forthcoming projects. Meanwhile, 50 Cent did finally get in the booth. 50 Cent has finally responded in song form to his current rap rival, T, specifically to the new Leon Thomas collab, No One Told Us What Here For. It's a theme song for the Power Origins prequel series on Stars. 50 Cent's disc featured on the theme for the new spin-off Power. Origins doesn't just target T. It also takes aim at his wife Tama Tiny Harris and their children, reigniting a feud that dates back nearly 2 decades. So, 50 used a television theme song for his own show as a vehicle to diss the entire Harris family. That is not just trolling. That is branding. That is putting the beef into his professional output. And that tells you that 50 is not letting this go. To ensure there was no confusion about the target, 50 Cent shared a video of the theme alongside a picture of T and Tiny. His caption was, "They are going to learn to leave me alone." That line, "They're going to learn to leave me alone," is not just about the diss tracks. It is about the documentary. It is about what comes next. And it is a warning that whatever T.I. and his family have done so far, 50 Cent is not finished responding. So where does all of this leave us? We have a beef that started with a Fail vs. Zeus battle. It escalated through social media trolling. It went nuclear when 50 Cent posted images of Tiny. It got personal when King Harris wore a t-shirt with 50's dead mother on it. And now the threat of a documentary is hanging over the entire Harris family like a cloud. The question is not just whether the documentary exists. It is whether 50 Cent's playbook from Combs can be replicated and whether T.I. has the PR infrastructure to absorb the impact. And that is the real question. Not whether 50 Cent will make the documentary, but whether T.I. and his family are prepared for what happens if he does. While 50 Cent has seen success with true crime media projects like Hip Hop Homicide, T.I. maintains the allegations against him are false. T.I. frames the documentary as an attempt to remain relevant rather than deliver justice. That is T.I.'s public position. He says 50 is chasing relevance. He says the allegations are false. He says nobody fears 50 Cent. But the reality is more complicated than that. He targeted his last enemy, Sean Diddy Combs, in his recent Netflix docuseries, The Reckoning. The 4-part series covered Call's life before and after he was buried under numerous sexual assault lawsuits. Combs' legal team responded by sending a cease and desist to Netflix and 50 Cent. However, they've yet to take it down. Even Diddy's lawyers could not stop the documentary. A cease and desist did not work, and the documentary went on to become one of the most talked about pieces of content on Netflix. If 50 runs the same play with T and Tiny, a cease and desist is not going to be enough. Now, there is a big difference between the Diddy situation and the T.I. situation. Diddy was facing federal charges. T and Tiny, as we have noted, have denied the allegations against them, and the vast majority of associated lawsuits have been dismissed in court. That matters legally, but in the court of public opinion, a documentary does not need a conviction. It needs testimonies. It needs interviews. It needs a narrative. And 50 Cent knows how to build a narrative. The timing is also a factor. T.I. is currently gearing up for the release of his final album, Kill the King, a documentary examining allegations tied to him and Tiny, regardless of how those allegations have fared legally, would be a devastating piece of counter-programming. T.I. is calling this his retirement album, his last project, his final statement, and 50 Cent is threatening to hijack the entire rollout with documentary. That is not just a beef move. That is a career move. That is 50 Cent saying, you want to go out on top? I will make sure the conversation is not about your music. And then there is King Harris, the 21-year-old who jumped into this beef feet first and did not look back. King Harris has not let up on 50 Cent one bit after disrespecting his mother, Tiny. King Harris got one look at 50 Cent's new song and immediately decided to show him the ropes. That's the energy he's coming with after dropping his third disc song, called Drop Top, just hours ago. King is still going. His father told him to stop. T said on the Ebro show that he told King to chill. But King is 21. He is a grown man making his own decisions. And every decision he makes, every diss track, every Instagram post, every provocative gesture becomes potential content for 50 Cent's documentary. That is the part T.I. cannot control. He can control his own response. He can drop Trauma Bond and dismiss the documentary threat. He can go on interviews and say nobody fears 50, but he cannot control his son. And his son is doing things that give 50 Cent ammunition. In an interview on the Ebro show, T addressed his son's involvement. I ain't got nothing to do with everybody moving on their own accord, he stated. While he expressed pride in his family standing together, he admitted he told King to take a step back after the shirt incident. Everybody moving on their own accord. That is T distancing himself from King's actions without disowning them. It is a careful line to walk. He is proud, but he is also worried. And that worry is not just about the beef. It is about the documentary. Because if surviving T and Tiny becomes a real project, King Harris will be part of the story whether T wants him to be or not. His diss tracks, his social media posts, his provocations, all of it paints a picture. And 50 Cent is a producer who knows how to use footage. T.I.'s attention has shifted back to Kill the King. And given that Let Know recently hit number 1, the music appears to be doing exactly what he said it would. Let Him Know is one of the early hits of 2026. The song, part of T.I.'s retirement album, Kill the King, is currently number 1 at Urban Radio and on several charts from Instagram to Billboard. On one hand, T.I. is winning. His music is charting. His album rollout is building momentum. He has proven that he can still make music that connects. But on the other hand, 50 Cent is sitting there with a documentary threat, and King Harris keeps giving him material. The rap war may have started as someone else's provocation, but T.I. seems content to let the charts write the ending. T.I. wants the music to speak for itself. He wants the charts to be the final word. But 50 Cent does not play by those rules. 50 Cent plays by his own rules. And if those rules include a documentary that resurfaces years of allegations against T and Tiny, then no amount of chart success is going to change the conversation. The truth is this. T cannot beg 50 Cent to remove King Harris from anything. King put himself in the beef. King wore the shirt. King made the weed packaging. King dropped 3 diss tracks. And in doing so, King made himself a character in this story. A story that 50 Cent may or may not choose to tell on screen. What T.I. can do is what he has been doing. Tell King to stop, express pride in his son's loyalty to his mother, and try to steer the narrative back to his music. But the genie is out of the bottle. The things that have been said and done in this beef cannot be unsaid or undone. And 50 Cent, the man who made a documentary about Diddy, who has produced multiple hit television shows, who built an empire on petty revenge and strategic timing. That man now has a folder full of Harris family content. For now, the rap battle may not be happening, but the drama between the two stars is still very much alive. And if 50 Cent really is working on a surviving T.I. and Tiny documentary, this feud might soon move from Instagram and diss tracks to the small screen. And if it does, King Harris, the 21-year-old son who was trying to protect his mother, could end up being the centerpiece of a story that his father never wanted told. That is the reality of the situation. T started this fight to defend his family, but his family's defense may have given 50 Cent exactly what he needed to tell the story he wants to tell. We will see what happens, but one thing is clear. This beef is not over. Not by long shot.